I don't want those people to bring that hard-earned money thinking that $100 is going to change into a Lambo tomorrow. I had nearly 40,000 US dollars. The next day we had nothing left. Let it go if it is going to go. Another opportunity will come. Religion keeps me grounded on so many different aspects. If I am praying 5 times a day, I am submitting my ego and I'm going past that one. By putting my head on the ground, I am submitting to the owner of the universe. My name is Naeem Aslam. I'm based in London and in Dubai. Life growing up in the UK wasn't an easy one. I had to stand on my own feet at a very young age. My dad was traveling for business purposes from country to country. That put us in a situation where we have to be responsible for ourselves, me and my brothers, from a very, very young age. And we always took that as a very big advantage for us, because it gave us the responsibility to take ownership of our own selves at a very early age. By the time I was in college, I moved out. And at the time, it was the right decision for me to take responsibility of my own self and for my future. I was very clear-minded from the beginning where I want to go and what I want to achieve. And of course, during this period of time, there were so many different hurdles, so many different challenges, different environments. Back in the day, the person who really inspired me was Imran Khan. And I'm still very much inspired by him. He's the ex-Prime Minister of the Republic of Pakistan. The reason that he really inspired me is his willing to give to people. He achieved everything in his life what he wanted to. Fame, money, success, everything that he could possibly ask for. And then he always stood by his value. And then he came out and he says, I want to make a difference. I want to give it back to my people, my country. Those values, what I believe in, and I wanted to stand by. And I think now, looking at it where I have come in my life, it's time for me to help others. By sitting on those trading desks, those last 25 years and 20 years, looking at people losing money by those who were selling dreams, buy this signal, do this and do that. $100 for you, if you're living in the UK, may not have that much of a value, may not take you that much long to earn that $100. If you are based in unprivileged part of the world, that is a lot of money. And unfortunately, for a lot of companies, they go after that particular traffic because regulation isn't that strict for you how to market it. I don't want those people to bring that hard-earned money thinking that $100 is going to change into a Lambo tomorrow. I wanted to give them the information, the knowledge, the experience that I have learned in those particular years, and telling honestly the truth, leveling out the playing fields between the privileged and unprivileged. So I got started in trading back in 2006 and 2007. And the most interesting was my first stock that I ever bought was Google. I held it for 5 minutes and then I sold it with a very small profit. But how I really got it started into hold this. When I was at university, I saw the opportunity. It was a bull market and we were looking at stocks and every day, not knowing what the fundamentals are driving them, which macro and monetary policy was very much in play, the huge trends like how we have an AI trend right now. But we were just like, okay, this is a place where you can exactly come and then you can put money in and then you can next day you can have another $100 or $50. I remembered vividly that on the night of the financial crisis, I had nearly 40,000 US dollars and only 10,000 was my own money. Rest was like borrowed money and then margin. The next day we had nothing left. We had completely wiped out. And I remember speaking to my older brother about this one. He said, I am so glad that actually you lost all that money and then you made all these mistakes, major mistakes very early in your career, because this will teach you a lesson. So that got me started looking and then going into further details of learning investments and trading, and then actual real practical career started at the same time as well. Became the portfolio manager for a pension fund and worked with the Bank of New York Mellon learned how everything was working, and then into the brokerage world, looking at the liquidity flows, looking at the traders flow to understand exactly why and when are they doing it and what is happening in the real world. So basically a real disconnect what is happening in the actual world and how people are trading based on their emotions. Made me learn a lot of different aspects of trading. My aim was never ever invest 100% of my capital at any given time until and unless market has dropped more than 30%, and I mean the major indices of the US of the US stock market. Then you can be fully invested in that one. If the market drops beyond a 30% and you have the lawmakers implementing rules that short selling is banned now because there's so much panic in the market, then you should devolve into an area what we call margin trading, because then you can start going into that. Those are the life-changing events where you should take the maximum opportunity on that. And I think one thing that I really admire, and then I look at Warren Buffett, one of the things for sure is that how he stays liquid, cash rich, and he invests the most of his capital when no one is willing to do that in the market. What really motivates me and what thrills me in terms of teaching others is passing knowledge, making sure that their capital that they're going to invest is going in the right place. We travel the whole world. We see the various different demographics, how difficult it is for people to earn that extra 200 or a 2,000 or a 10,000, whatever that amount is, depending on, again, the demographic. You don't want to mislead them. You don't want to tell them the stories that this is how you're going to become a millionaire or a billionaire. But you don't want to scare them as well. You do want to provide a mean for someone to shift from 9 to 5 to a place where they would like to be. Because if you are in an unprivileged country, if you are stuck in a cycle of a 9 to 5 job, it is incredibly difficult for you to break out of that particular cycle. So you do want to tell them that there are opportunities which can supplement, which can provide extra income or extra resources for you to get to where you want to be. You have to tell them, you have to teach them from your experience. As I mentioned in the previous section, coming out of a university doesn't really necessarily teach you how to go and then deal with a certain particular situation. If I have dealt that, if I know exactly how markets are likely to react under those particular circumstances in comparison to someone coming from a university or learning from a textbook, sometimes learning from a YouTuber, from someone who does not have the right knowledge. It is an opportunity for you to be honest and then show them what will work and what could work, and that if it isn't going to work, why it isn't going to work, how you could make it happen the next time. Information in many ways has already been democratized, right? So everything is on your phone. You don't have to sit in front of your TV to watch, to learn. It is on the move. If we can provide the information in the most easiest, digestible way to a normal layman person who can understand it and find opportunities with that, we have achieved our goal. This is exactly what we do across our social media platforms and in our research. Religion keeps me grounded on so many different aspects. It reminds me of so many different factors which are aligned with trading. And this very much comes from an experience. Religion teaches you, do not go beyond your means. Do not extend things beyond your means. In trading, I'll give you a very real example. If you take a position which you know it is beyond your stomach or something which is like heavily leveraged, you are not going to be comfortable. One pip move to the upside, one pip move to the downside is going to put you on a shaky ground. You are going beyond your mean on that, over leveraging yourself. Number two, and this is quite important and I've learned over the years, is greed very much plays huge play in trading. Religion teaches you this one. Do not be greedy. Do things in the right way. And if you implement the same sort of a principle over here, again, this brings you back to your main core of trading, which teaches you, okay, you have to have your target and then that is it. Beyond that one, there are different things to do. You'll move on to something else. If I am praying 5 times a day or 1 time a day, whatever that is, what I am doing is I am submitting my ego and I'm going past that one. By putting my head on the ground, I am submitting to the owner of the universe. I'm thinking that my ego is nothing. I am not a person who should be living by the ego. As someone who pauses trading during prayers, it doesn't bother me. For me, it is better to come back fresh, look at things from a fresh eye, and then have a different perspective. Rather than thinking I am not going to do that, putting a lot of stress on and thinking that opportunity is going to go. Let it go if it is going to go. Another opportunity will come because this is the part of the world that we are in. What is more important, we do not overburden our mind with the flow of information that is coming. In trading, there's a term called revenge trading, where you go in one particular stock or in any derivative, and then you lose money, and then you come back, and then you wanted to say, no, I lost money in this particular stock. And believe me, I've done those mistakes in the early years of my life. Even now, so as a human, I still do them. But then this part of the religion, which I practice, brings me back to the reality, to the ground. That, okay, revenge trading is a perfect recipe to lose all the capital. And that is purely and purely, again, based on your ego. So 3 things: ego, over-leveraging, and greed. Prophet Muhammad, I can talk about him all day long in terms of the things that I have learned or that I like to replicate in my life. But specifically talking about trading, one thing that I really love from the personality and from everything from the religion is practicing patience. This has helped me to become a better trader in so many different ways. Because if you are not patient in terms of for trading, you're jumping on every single opportunity, you are making wrong decisions. You are absolutely pushing yourself in the wrong places where you shouldn't be. In trading, patience is a very, very important factor which you have to practice. And I think from his life, how patient he was and how much contribution he has done to the community, it kind of really a source and a vault of inspiration for me that I can put in my life, in my lifestyle, in various different aspects, to go and then try to follow, to replicate even 1%. I think if I can even implement 1% of that, it would be a huge success. And this is what I am thriving and I am doing every day. So yes, stuff like patience, not being greedy, not going beyond your means, these are like basic core principles that he preached and that he talked about are very important.